Hey everybody, welcome back to the Dungeon Dive. Um, Kind of a quick little review, maybe a little bit of a rant here. I'm not really a ranter, but I sat down today to do a Let's Play of Forest of Fate. Okay, this is a new card-driven choose your own adventure style game in which I think it's 2 to 6 players. They each take a character and you try to go through a series of encounters, reading paragraphs along the way, trying to overcome each encounter based on the skills and how good one of the characters is at the skill. And I paid extra, so this is a Kickstarter game. I paid extra to have a book printed. Now, the game can be played with the cards in conjunction with an app. However, I like books. So here's, I've got quite a few books, not a huge library, but I like collecting books. And anytime I can get, something special, a special book, I will take that opportunity. I don't have anything against ebooks. I buy them on my Kindle. But I thought that I would support the developer and get a nice book printed with all the paragraphs for the Choose Your Own Adventure. Well, the first time I set the game up and played it, I ran across an encounter card for a torrent of rain that was creating a flood. And on each of the encounter cards, let me show you real quick. So on each of the encounter cards, you have a certain number, and each shape represents a certain skill. And so you decide, let's say that was speed. You decide, okay, my character is going to use speed, so I'm going to turn to paragraph 812. And then you open up the book or the app, turn to 812, and you read, and then you make more choices from there. Well, one of the first cards I came across had all of the wrong numbers printed on it. And so that adventure came to a grinding halt because I couldn't proceed. So I thought, well, okay, I'll give the guy a benefit of the doubt. I went online, went to Board Game Geek, and they're already talking about that. So, okay, next game. I set everything up. I get to a certain point in the game, trying to make another video for the channel. And in the book, it tells me that my character becomes panicked. So I'm looking through the deck of status cards, and there's no card called Panicked. So again, another misprint in the book. So both times I tried to play the game today, I ran into 2 misprints that prevented me from finishing my quest. Okay, that should not happen. A choose your own adventure game, there is one thing that matters, and that is proofreading. You've got to make sure that your paragraph markers are correct, because there is nothing worse than reading a choose your own adventure or a game book and coming to a point where you can't progress in your story. When I was a kid, I read a ton of fighting fantasy books and a ton of game books. They were very popular in the 80s growing up. They are becoming more popular now again, which is fantastic. And I remember reading one, I think it was called something about fear, Appointment with Fear or something. It was a fighting fantasy book. It's like a superhero themed one. And I was about halfway through it, and I came to a crossroads to look at the choices, and I get down to the choices, and one of the choices wasn't printed. And I had no idea what to do, so I had to go through the whole book and try to find the next paragraph that made sense. And it really bummed me out. So with the help of my parents, I think I was in, well, let's see, I wasn't that young. So I was in either 6th or 7th grade at the time. I remember because I remember where I was living. And so I actually wrote the publisher. I said, hey, I was reading this Appointment with Fear book, and I came across this reprint. I didn't think anything would go. I just wanted to let them know. So maybe on a subsequent pressing, they could fix the error. And a couple weeks later, I come home from school, and there's a giant box in the living room waiting for me. And my mom and dad were like, hey, you got this giant package today. And I had no idea what it was. I thought maybe they had got me a gift or something. And I opened it, and the box was absolutely full of just about every single Final Fighting Fantasy book. And a handwritten note from the publisher, expressing their their gratitude for letting me know about the issue and saying that they were sorry that I ran across this. And they sent me like 30 books for free. And it's one of my best memories. I mean, I thought that was so super cool of them. I'm not expecting anything like that from these guys. I know they're a small publisher. They don't have a lot of money. But one thing that doesn't take a lot of money is proofreading. You got when it comes to these kinds of games, developers, writers, publishers, you really need to make sure that your paragraph markers are correct, because that's the entire game. There's no other mechanism in these games except for to get to the end of a paragraph, decide where you're going to go next, and turn to the next paragraph. So I don't even know if I'm going to play this game again. I don't want to set it up and get halfway through and discover yet another misprint. That's going to destroy another game. You know, I thought about bringing it to the game night tonight to play with some friends, but I'm definitely not going to do that because I don't want to run into the same situation again. So I don't know. Hopefully these guys can get their issues straightened out. I'm really bummed out that this had to happen because I was really looking forward to playing and liking this game. So anyways, I guess this is kind of like the first negative video on the Dungeon Dive. Had to happen sooner or later, but all right. Well, take it easy, guys. Sorry for the bad news. Bye-bye.